Yeah. So listen, look, I think we've all been tuned into the contrarian mindset of wanting to be long until they basically stop raising the rate. But I tell you what, man, I am
They ain't
car
gonna
sick.
stop. Yeah, they ain't gonna stop raising the rates, are they?
Yeah, no. So we've all been here getting car sick on the on barcoding markets. Like just when you think you're in a nice long, it comes right back to entry at the end of the day.
Yeah,
But I know I saw a video you did there a week or two ago. You're talking about your lovely position. So I don't think any of this barcoding really concerns you at this moment, does it?
I mean, it always concerns me, but I've been pretty I guess I would call it market neutral for the last couple of weeks. I'm still long NASDAQ, but I got some decent trades. I got a short yen trade on a couple of weeks ago, which is helping hedge the whole thing. Um, Today, for
Right.
reasons that I could never explain, I've been long cotton for a while, which has just been a shite trade, and all of a sudden today it's helping. I have no idea why.
Okay.
I did have a short gold from up on that reversal day at the high, but I'm out of that now. But that helped. Um, and I've been short the energies. I've been short RBOB, which is also not helping at all today, but helped, but has helped over the last few weeks. So, I think what I've been saying on my newsletter and stuff for the last couple of weeks is it's really kind of, I still believe in the stock market going up. I don't necessarily think that it's going to go up every single day, as today is going to
Sure.
prove. But I think being sort of market neutral here is the way to be. Market neutral in some way, which I like
Yeah.
short. I like short yen the best. So
Short yen, long dollar.
it's just a yen
Yeah.
thing, really. COT was
Right.
showing, and the this whole idea with the new BOJ governor, has gotten people, I think, somewhat bullish
Yeah.
again, and it's just failed on that. So um,
Right.
that's kind of where I'm
Okay.
at with it. I could
Yeah,
be
that was like,
I could be completely wrong, but I still think the stock market's going higher.
yeah. I mean, every time you see the Bears step in on what's really been like a almost a 3 week range high here. The Bulls just come in and lift the bottom, and then you end up putting a new high on the day. So I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see a new high on equities today, and then maybe finish on the lows. You know,
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like, obviously there was a lot of people shorts that got squeezed, and if they're not changing their tune, they might have enough risk management to get stopped out or cover or whatever. But then as soon as it starts going back, I've been in this position, okay, where I was a perma
yeah,
bear. And it's like you're not going to miss it now, right? Every time it goes down, they'll start reshorting it again, reshorting, because they don't want to miss it again, right? Um, I personally think they're
right,
going to keep getting squeezed, but we'll see. I don't know I don't have a very good feel on what the path is. And clearly I will get stopped at some point if it keeps going down. But I think
sure,
I think you come back in a month, it's higher.
right. Do I? Yeah. Well, okay. So in a month's time, for those who are maybe not tuned in to the Fed path and rates and all that, we're pretty much what we were meant to be getting to terminal rate of. I think it started out at 4.75, wasn't it, in March? And
Something like that.
now it's like, where is the terminal rate? I mean, I saw JP. I think it was JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs were quoting terminal might be 7%.
Could be. I mean, the whole thought process that I think we talked about at the beginning of the year or the end of last year was everyone was playing this recession game, right? Um,
Yeah.
so I felt like that had to turn, which it seems like it has, but now you go into okay, now there's not going to be a recession. Well, now they're going to be raising rates, right? So we're back into that whole freak show, right? So I think there's got
Yeah.
to be sort of an adjustment to that. And then
Do you think this talk about there kind of is no terminal rate, or it's just this now moving ever upside moving target is enough to actually get even more contrarians in, buying into the fearful sort of speculative money that's just trying to exit.
I think so.
Yeah.
It just gives the bears more, more fodder, right, to get short. And they're clearly winning today. and,
Today,
and for
yeah.
the last week or so, they're winning.
And Friday was pretty nice as well.
Yeah, so they're winning,
Some,
and okay,
somewhat of a tight range.
they're winning
So
now. They're losing from the beginning of the year. I mean, the Nasdaq, as you know, has destroyed these people. So, and they, it just keeps giving them more reasons to short, more reasons to short. I mean, is 6% interest rates? I don't know. I feel like the world lived on 6% interest rates for 20 years. Like all of a sudden, everything has to be 0% interest rates. I don't know.
yeah,
It's
there's
all recency.
a lot of talk of the Fed should really be happy with 4% inflation rather than the target 2.
Yeah.
So who
I have
knows
no
where
way of
we end
knowing any
up.
of that stuff. The truth is, I have no way of knowing anything right now because the COT hasn't printed for 3 weeks.
Well, I was
Um,
about to ask you. Yeah, there's been a hack on the servers, isn't there?
yeah, so for 3 weeks we haven't. So I kind of cut everything that I have in half. I went with it for the
Okay.
first couple of weeks, but by week 3, I was like, I have a an algo that makes a daily COT, but
Okay.
its accuracy over a 3-week period is not going to be that great. I think obviously the longer I go without getting the real data, the more slippage there's going to be in the accuracy of that algo. So I can't sit here and
And tell you
I certainly can't lose
what's going
money
on.
on something that my main data source is gone, right? So I kind of halved everything 2 weeks ago, which
Okay.
wasn't a great trade. It helped me in the Nasdaq, but it didn't help me with the yen and everything else. So it really didn't get me anywhere, but just helps me sleep by having it based on the fact that my data ain't there. But
Sure.
I believe the data is coming back out this week and we'll be good. I don't, it doesn't feel to me like we're going to get a COT where people have gotten long now. You know what I mean? I have a hard time believing that, but you never know. The first few weeks of January, my algo would have shown that people were buying Nasdaq, and the truth is, they ended up just selling more into the rally. So,
To
there's
be
really,
honest, to be honest, it kind of comes at a very sort of fortuitous time where we just barcoded for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and it's like, oh, we don't have COT report while the market just goes sideways. It's kind of like, hold on a second, what's going on here? We need a little more in depth info as to what's happening within this range. But
I definitely do. I mean, we keep getting all these different. I don't know. You start seeing all this money, theoretically retail money, that's poured into the market, they say this year,
I
but
saw that chart.
at the
Yeah,
same time, I don't know. The people I talk to, it doesn't seem that way. All the sort of wealth manager type of people are telling me that their clients have been selling into this all year, because they're waiting for the next shoe to drop. So I don't know if I can reconcile that with what I'm hearing. I certainly can't reconcile it with what I'm hearing from all the pundits on TV who are just bearish, bearish, bearish. I still see
yeah.
no bulls. So, um,
Still talking about recession, and meanwhile, you got 500,000 added on NFP. You have we're going to get home sales later on, which is probably going to be a beat or something stiff. You're seeing CPIs coming in marginally hot, but not scary hot. There weren't beats on prior, so it's kind of
yeah,
like
I think the
what
recession talk
recession?
is so. No, I think to me the recession talk is ridiculous. I don't see it anywhere. Maybe it's coming, but it certainly ain't here now. I mean, like I've always said, I go out to dinner and on a Wednesday night, and the entire town is packed. I don't know how you have. I don't know how that's recession. I don't know
Is
how
that
you have
because
recession
is
with
that
everybody that wants a job has a job. I don't know how you get recession there either. And I kind of think that the inflow data that they're seeing is probably a function of that. If you have a job and part of your salary goes into your, retirement account, and your retirement account gets invested in stocks, then I guess that looks like inflows.
sure?
And so
Yeah,
as long as people are, which I kind of think is ironic because and this may be the contrarian trade to get short later in the year, but if the employment stops, and then people will start thinking, oh, well, the Fed doesn't have to raise rates anymore, and maybe that will get them bullish. But the ironic thing will be, if the employment stops, then suddenly all that money's not going into the stock
The
market
inflow
anymore.
stuff.
You
So
know?
that brings me on to something we kind of grazed on a couple of sessions ago, right? Is we were talking about bonds, right? So, and what I'm wondering, why are you bullish? Well, I don't like to trade bullish on tech at the moment because on the medium term, T bills, 6 month duration, I can get 5%. Or I can risk my balls in the NASDAQ looking to make, maybe I make 15%, maybe I make negative 10.
Yeah.
What do you
No,
reckon?
there's no doubt. There's definitely that, right? And that's what it feels like people are doing. They're putting their money in that guaranteed, 2-year money or whatever that gets you, 4.5 or something like that. I don't know. Um,
4.98 the last time I checked
is it? Yeah. So
on T bills.
that's a pretty good, risk-free, tax-free return right there. So why would you do anything else? But you take the contrarian view, okay, well, if you're all putting it in there, then what they're going to do is they're going to miss, 25% move in the stock market, which, they've missed this move this year, obviously, so far. But
I think I'm
I
just going to give up day trading and just go and be a legendary fund manager and get my T bills loaded up
I mean,
and declare legendary status on a 5%, take it home. Done.
5% with no vol, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no risk, risk-free rate.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea,
So, do you think this makes it really tough for kind of active money managers to say, well, listen, this is what I'm going to do this year. I'm going to do, I'm going to beat the S&P. I'm going to beat. Well, that's going to be maybe, I don't know, easy to do this year, but like 15%, 20%. How do you think it affects the money managers?
I think they always
Makes
suck.
their life
So
easier.
why should this year be any differently? I mean, all I heard, I put it on Twitter. I think it was on January 25th, if I'm not mistaken. For whatever reason on that day, I must have heard 20 people come on TV and make the same conclusion, which was that they don't want to be long tech. They want to be long energy, and they want to be long mining shares, gold, miners,
Mining.
and all that. So if you look since January 25th, what that trade
The
has done,
miners are dogs.
they got
Yeah.
destroyed, and it's really so did the energy. So, and it's like it's funny because if you look, that was a great trade in 2022. If you had short Nasdaq, long, energy, then
Oh yeah.
that was a great portfolio. But they didn't have it on now. They have it on now. They have like last year's trade. They
Yeah,
want to
it's
have
way
on
too
now,
late.
and that's so typical, right?
I saw a lot of bullish stuff on Twitter about XLE being like super bullish XLE, but it's at 82s. Like that's crazy, man. It was a good buy at 40s and 50s, but at 80s, you're gonna be fish food, man. You
Yeah,
want to
and
be
I mean,
sitting on that thing for 20 years.
look at what Newmont's mining's done in the last 3-4 weeks. I mean, these things are down like 15, 18%, while the stock market is up. It's
Yeah.
classic, right? They're chasing last year's trade. They're
That's
a
what's
year late.
happening. Is that really what's happening when they're talking heads on the street? They're talking their last year's trades.
That's what
Or
I
they
hear.
chase they're chasing the market basically from last year.
Yes, exactly. They didn't have it on
Wow.
then, but they'll have it on now, right? And so now they'll get whacked on it, and which they are getting whacked on it. Imagine if you're short Nasdaq and long, Newmont mining this year. You're destroyed. It's not even a little bit,
Right.
a lot.
If you're short Nasdaq, yeah, you're pretty burnt for by now. You're kind of dead already. I bought a little bit of Facebook at 100 there, got out before earnings.
Mm,
Literally 5 seconds later, it was up like 15%. So,
yeah.
I did all right, but yeah, I should have held a lot more for the post earnings mega boom. But one thing I did do, I bought a little bit of Kathy or ARC Q. I got some ARC F, took out of that last week, but I'm holding the ARC Q, which is like the genomics and robotics and smart tech fund. What do you think about Kathy? Is she ready to go to the nunnery yet, or is she going to ride this?
Yeah, she's going to the nunnery one way or the other. But again, I don't the timing at this point. It's tough here. It's tough right here, which is why I keep saying market neutral is the way to be. But it's tough here. I mean, these stocks, they're overvalued. It. That's easy. But does that mean that they can't get more
But,
overvalued? You know what I
but
mean? It
dude,
doesn't.
they've been overvalued for, like, you could say they've been overvalued for 20 years.
They have. That's exactly right. No, you're right, and they can be more overvalued. I keep thinking
Exactly.
about I try to counter what these guys are saying. So I listen. I would suggest, by the way, every day at 1 o'clock New York time,
Right.
um, they do a thing on YouTube. Dan Nathan and Guy Adami do like a little half-hour market thing on YouTube, and
Dan
it's
Nathan. It's a
yeah,
YouTube thing. Okay.
yeah. I think it's called Risk Reversal or something like that. But
Okay.
you'll laugh because almost every day you could take what he says and write a book about bad trading based on what he says, right? All the rules that you sort of know about trading, don't add to losers, don't marry a position. He does all of those things and says them out loud every day, right? He's been bearish all year. And every day it goes up. All he talks about is how the market doesn't know what they're doing, and the market doesn't understand what the Fed is doing, and um,
Ouch. So the
yeah, every
market's
day. And
wrong.
and he's not going, he said one word, I'm not going anywhere. I'm bearish and I'm going to remain bearish and I'm shorting QQQs and I'm not getting out and I'm shorting Tesla and I'm not getting out. He's been short Tesla for the last like 2 months, right?
So this
Um,
guy works for the broker,
no,
basically.
he works for CNBC. He's on CNBC Fast Money, and then he does his own little thing. But it's so funny to watch. But Guy Adami keeps coming on there every day. He makes the same argument. If you take where the S&P is now, and you look at where the earnings projections are, we're on a PE of whatever 19, and that's ridiculous in this environment. And truthfully, the earnings are too high anyway. So we're really probably more on a PE of 22, and that's just unsustainable. It's just simple math, simple math. I'm like, it's simple math. Anybody can do that simple math. I like the question, well, why is it here? You know what I mean?
So has this
Now,
guy looked at a long-term chart of any of the equity indices ever?
they haven't looked at anything, dude. I mean, you could say the same thing with the VIX. Everyone's, oh, the VIX is so low. I'm like, man, to me, the VIX traded between 8 and 14 for 10 years. So I don't know why this is so
Yeah.
low. It's low relative to recency, but it's not low. But I keep thinking maybe it has something to do with, in my career, I think I saw two major changes that people didn't see coming, that changed valuations. One was China opening up, right? China went from nothing to whatever, the second biggest economy in the world over 20 years, right? Which clearly
Yeah.
opened up huge amounts of business for people, for businesses. And the
Sure. Yeah.
second was, the internet, which created a whole bunch of efficiencies, right? I mean, this is how you can get valuations of things to go up, right? That plus just natural population growth, which gives you more customers too, right? So I
But
don't know,
surely the
maybe
market, was buying and the internet, 98, 97, 98, 99, then dot-com crash. But
yeah.
I mean, I think the dog on the street, it's well documented, was just long anything tech through from 97 through, and
It
then
was. I mean, it
most,
was that Netscape moment. Netscape came public and the thing exploded, and nobody really knew what it was or what the situation was. But that set off sort of a 3 year, rip. And
I
maybe
heard,
I don't
yeah,
know because I don't know enough about it. But maybe that's what this AI thing. Maybe. And I know these AI stocks have gotten silly, but if
yeah.
it's real, if it's real, right? Um,
I'm
And
pretty
think
sure
about
it
the
is real.
efficiencies that maybe it will create. You know what I mean? Like you look at what Twitter did. What they do? They fired 70% of their people, and they haven't. I
Yeah,
think they haven't lost a step. Right? If
yeah.
everybody could do that, everyone could fire 70% of their biggest cost without losing any revenue, then valuations would have to go up. Right?
I
So
have to say,
maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
over the last kind of two earnings periods, I mean, really just the last one was the most significant for layoffs, but in tech. But certainly over the last, say, 4 earnings periods I've sat through and traded through, if you had layoffs, the stock wouldn't be so sprightly getting out of bed. Whereas Google announcing, I don't know, whatever, 16,000 jobs gone, and the thing is up like 4.5% on the get go. I mean,
Yeah. I
and
mean,
maybe
look, I've
maybe
worked in
maybe we should all be
organizations and
buying. Maybe we should all be buying stocks that have a massive call, buying them in the pre-market. But I don't know. I've seen times where it just doesn't have that sort of effect. You know?
it feels to me like that's what it is. And Wall Street, while they're talking about AI and while they're buying up these, silly AI punts, I wonder if you should be buying the companies that are actually going to benefit from that. These companies that are heavy in employee
Well,
costs that could
I
be a
like
hell of a
long
lot less. I
short.
mean, even before AI, what organization isn't too fat? I mean, we've all worked in organizations, and you could fire at least half the people, right?
Yeah,
And maybe this forces that, and things become a lot more efficient. I don't know, but that's sort of my thought process to maybe why the market is so high PE wise, I guess. And I don't know, just my thought. Just my thought.
yeah. Do you think I have a bit of a feeling that if we can't hold, say, fourth thou, basically, let's call it just 40, yeah, fourth thou even on the SPOs, that we're going to have a serious capitulation.
Yes, I think that's right. I mean, it's clear that the Bears want to be short, man. You know what I mean? From here, it's one thing, down at the beginning of the
Bears
year
want a bear.
when it's all oversold and it's all this and that, right? But now you've kind of had this rebound, so the Bears want to be short, and if they want to get re-short, then they can clearly push it below 4,000 if that's what they want to do, right? It's not too
Yeah,
hard to get the market to go down. I still think it's going to bounce back up when they do it, and you pick your spots to get long, but it's clear they can push it down because they want to be short, man. And who
I
knows
think
how
I
much.
think we're go. I think we're going to see a bit of a flush on the downside today, and then it's going to be
Yeah,
just a ton of buying back up to like 41s, 42s. I think we're in a big old bull flag, to be honest, in on the S&P.
it
Uh,
does look
so
that way. Yeah,
so
yeah.
and I
The
think it's gonna
Nasdaq too
if I
looks that way. So
think you're gonna get your serious payday scale out a wee bit, and I think there's good scale-ins coming around 40/24s, 40/20s. But yeah, I think if there was a huge amount of selling, I'd be looking to buy. I'd be looking to do a Shapiro on the end of day long.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if today is the day or not, but it kind of feels to me like with so many people looking at those levels, it almost has to break through those levels just to scare the shit out of everybody, including getting the
Right.
longs breaking out. You know what I mean? Me,
Run,
you,
run the
whoever
stock.
else is trying to be a wise ass and be long, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Get us all out. You know what I mean? Just force us to, just like it forced the shorts out, and now they want to get back in, right? Now it'll,
It's,
it's gonna force all the longs out.
honestly, it feels like the last almost 3 weeks of trade has been that. Numerous times we're chatting in our room here and we're getting into good positions for longs or for shorts, intradays, and you might be seller on high of day or buyer on low of day, and then it comes to like midway through the session or towards the close, new high, new low, and you're like, what the, you can't just stay in a trade. So, I mean, yeah, it's really good for the swingers
I
like
mean, forget about the
you on
last
this
3 weeks. I feel like that's how it's been. That's how it is forever. Just shakes out the
forever.
weekends and then goes. Um, that's
Yeah.
kind of, that's, I don't know. To me, that's what it is. So what are the
Well,
weekends now? I don't know. I feel like the longs maybe can be a little bit weak here because it, it's very, think about career
uh,
risk. You know what I mean? If you're a portfolio manager, you got no career risk being underweight equities here, right? Because
sure.
you can justify it all day long, and you can point to all the strategists and Mike Wilson and whoever the hell else, right? You can point to all of them and say, this is why I'm underweight. There's no career risk. If you're mega long here, the market goes
Six,
down, you're
60
fired,
40
man.
bonds, man.
Yeah,
60 40s bonds.
yeah, except it's more like 30-30, I think.
Yeah,
So
a lot of
that's kind of
cash.
how I think it's very, very hard, very hard. The hard trade is to be long, clearly, right? So
Uh,
that's where I think the
yeah.
money. is going to be made, but doesn't say anything about the path. Doesn't mean they can't go and whip out 4,000 here just to get all the longs out. You know, it doesn't mean any of that, right? But I think the harder trade is definitely the pain trade is long, and that's the place to be. But like I say, I'm hedging against it here because we're in a tough period, I think, here.
Do you have any thoughts about bonds in general? These rates or these yields just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm looking to bottom fish here on the bund probably this week. Look for some flushes, and I mean it's kind of just seriously oversold, man. I mean we're down at 2015 levels there.
I would be a buyer of fixed income, but you know I was a buyer on Thursday on the PPI number. The 2 years traded flat on the back of the PPI number, and I got long there, but it looks to me like I'm getting stopped on that today because I'll get stopped through Thursday's low, and we're already through Thursday's low. So it looks to me like, unless something happens this afternoon, I'm getting stopped on that bitch.
But you see, it seems to be just the more hawkish and the more this terminal rate keeps drifting to wherever on the upside that the bonds just keep going down.
They do. Yeah, they certainly do. So
do you think there's any sort of an event where that could kind of where we could see a dislocation on stocks to bonds? Directionality. Well, you know, they basically seem to, you know, they're both going down or they're both going up, right?
Well, I mean, you say that, but let's look at 2 years topped basically the second week of January and have gotten crushed.
Who wants to trade the 2 years, man? They you know.
Well, it doesn't matter, 2 year, 30 year, 10 year, whatever. The point is that all of that stuff
they hardly move
the second week of January, and I've gotten crushed since then. And the Nasdaq since the second week of January is, you know, went straight up.
It's killing it. Yeah.
So
yeah.
You know, now we're getting, obviously we get to a point where, hey, the 2 year moves from X to X, it's not that big a deal, but if it moves from here and keeps going higher, maybe it is a bigger deal, you know?
So you're saying that the real correlation trade there is sort of to look at NASDAQ to say 10 year or 2 year?
That's supposed to be the correlation, right? NASDAQ to 2 years, what they all talk about, right?
Hey man, it's
working today.
It isn't.
Yeah, no, until it is, and it wasn't from the second week of January until, you know, a week ago, and now it's kind of back, you know. So
yeah,
I'm going to get stopped on my 2 years today, it looks like, but I'm looking to get long them. So if that ends up working and the 2 years start going up, then the Nasdaq probably, you would think, goes up with it. So these are all, you know, I don't know. These are trades that I'm waiting on and sitting on these hedges and getting, quite frankly, extremely lucky today on this cotton. I have no idea why cotton is ripping today. It's been a complete shite trade since I've put it on.
Is this because maybe China's, well, they're saying that China is maybe now colluding a little closer with Russia?
I guess it could be. I mean, cotton hasn't, I got long back in like literally November, and it went up at first and hasn't done jack shit since then. And it still hasn't done jack shit, but at least today it's going up when I need it to, because I'm fucking still long stocks and I'm going to get stopped on 2 years and I'm losing money.
What contract are you on cotton? You spot or
no
OTC or
whatever? No, whatever the front month is. Let me check. It's
should be
May cotton.
May. Oh wow. Okay. May 23.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Nice.
Well,
this is nice fun. Just keeps on going.
Hasn't been particularly nice, but it was nice today. So I don't know. I think it's all portfolio here is really the point, you know. So I think the one trade idea this here, one trade be long stocks is not really the thing. Obviously.
Well, not today.
No, obviously it's not. I'm not giving any kind of big revelation there.
But I mean, you should be still on side in your NASDAQ from where I think you got long.
I'm way on side, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you look, I mean, where would you, okay, here's the question. Where are you looking to add on NASDAQ?
I don't really add. I'm either getting stopped or I'm riding, you know.
I like it, yeah.
And I get
Yeah.
stopped somewhere from those mid-January numbers is really where I get stopped.
Okay.
So if that comes, then I just gotta kind of pray that the yen continues to work.
USPMI is just coming out here. Services beat, composite beat, manufacturing beat. Yeah, and the market makes a new low.
Yeah, they don't like that shit now. 2 years of getting whacked and making new lows. Dog making new lows. It's gonna be a fucking nightmare today.
And what do you think on oil? Any thoughts on oil? We have some ideas here. The
I mean,
Russians we're not going crazy because with China unlocked, basically because we've just seen in Bloomberg opinions that Russia has been selling uh, China 1.5 million barrels a day this year so far. So I
yeah, I
think
don't
there'll
really
be
like I'm short the RBOB, the unleaded gas, but I don't other than that, I don't really have a big opinion. I do think it's gonna underperform because I do think that that's where people are overweight. And I think they're
Mm.
overweight because that's what worked last year. That's what people do.
Yeah.
They fight the last war, as they say, right?
Yeah, but that's crazy. That strikes me as crazy for like portfolio managers, money managers, like, and sort of allocators to be saying yes to that type of strategy. Be like, oh, look what happened last year. Yeah, that's just going to keep on happening this year.
I
And
mean, I don't think they look at it like that. I think they look at it like, oh, look at the fundamentals now. It's like, okay, that's why you're late to the party. You waited for the fundamentals to now make sense, right? So, you're late to the party, right? They don't want to take risk. You know how it is. You have to take
yeah,
risk
yeah,
to
yeah.
make money, right? These guys don't want to take risk because they want to keep their jobs.
They want their 2 and 20
Yeah. And they're
before
two more
and
than anything
peace.
else.
Or
But you know what I
two.
mean?
Yeah.
And especially the
Yeah.
long only guys, you know what I mean? These guys are sitting there in their fat job, making whatever they're making, a few $100,000 a year, and they know they're useless, but they have a job. They got their MBA, they got their CFA, and they got their job, and they're paying their mortgage, and they just don't want to take risk, right? They can't. They have to sit there and be consensus. There's no
Yeah.
job,
Yeah.
there's job security in being consensus, and they don't get paid anyway for outperforming or underperforming, right? So.
You must get a lot of speaker invitations at all these hedge fund events.
I get some, but I don't go to events for sure. I don't sit on like I'm not going anywhere. People want to interview me. I like doing it. I'm happy to do it as long as I'm sitting right here.
Sure.
I
Yeah, yeah,
ain't,
yeah.
I ain't going to hedge fund events and running around and going on their golf things and their boat
But
tours and all that shit with
th-
all these people.
those those bank events, they do not want someone on here talking down their risk appetite, I'm sure.
No, they wouldn't.
Uh,
They wouldn't want me anywhere near there. That's for sure.
yeah. Well,
Which
listen,
is good because I don't want to be anywhere near there. So
how's your Irish wife doing?
she's great. Thanks.
Good. Whereabouts is she from? Mayo or
Where?
somewhere like that.
Sorry.
Where was she from? Mayo or somewhere like that.
Oh, I forget where they said they were from.
Okay.
I mean, she's from Rhode Island, but where her family was from in Ireland, I don't,
Oh, right.
I don't, I don't
Uh,
remember. I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
She would know,
Cool.
but she just took off. So
I'm trying to convert you to being an Irish rugby fan now that we are world number one since last summer. So the little competition on at the moment called the Six Nations. It's
are they world number one right now, Ireland?
That's right. I got them 5-1 to win the World Cup, which starts in September.
Is it the Rugby World Cup coming up?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. And we
The
are
only
world
rugby
number
I've
one.
ever been involved in was when I lived in Hong Kong. Of course, I went to the
Oh
sevens,
yeah,
which
yeah. Big.
was not an Ireland thing. It was that was always a Fiji and the islands always did real well in those games. It
Yeah,
was more of a
Samoa, all
speed
those
game than
guys.
anything else. You know what I mean? Because
It's
obviously
super
you had
fast. Yeah,
it was a
yeah, yeah.
very open field with only 7 people. So that was kind of a speed
But
game. But that was always, that wasn't even about the rugby. Of course, it was about well, I guess it always is, but it's about the drinking.
we always have a big rugby game around Paddy's Day. It's Ireland v England in the Six Nations. So we're going to have to hold on to our number one. title when we go up against them on the
I
Paddy's
mean,
Day.
if you can't beat England at something, then then you can't be talking about anything, right?
There's, there's quite a few English guys tuned in there in the room.
That's why I said it. I knew they'd appreciate that, especially me being a fucking American. They love the raggedy Americans over there, man. Our game's all a bunch of pussies, right? Wearing pads and taking time
Getting
out.
their brains beaten up, getting their
Yeah,
brains turned to mush, man. Yeah, I couldn't get good money on the Chiefs to win there. And there were all these weird like side bets that were giving good money, but I just don't understand the game enough to take them. I
yeah.
think I
Well,
could have got
people
even
that do
monies.
understand the game, it's all silly. There's another thing that this guy said that I was talking about, Dan Nathan. He said something like, and I made fun of it by saying, making a Super Bowl reference because he said it the day after the Super Bowl. He goes, if you really look at it since the beginning of the year, I've been right about everything except the stock market. Meaning, like,
Go
he
and
was right.
gamble
He
on
was right
everything
that there
else.
was going to be more inflation. He was right that there was going to be this, and he was going to. He's been right about everything except the stock market. I'm like, okay,
Oh.
well, I was right in the Super Bowl that the Eagles were the better team. Okay, but that didn't help me win the bet. Like, it's the dumbest thing you could ever say. I'm right about everything except the stock market. The stock market's the only thing you're talking that matters. You know what I mean? Like, you're
Stevie
betting.
Wonder could have told you that inflation was going to get crazy. And
Right.
that's yeah.
But like I say, it's worth watching just to listen to the things that he says that are so wrong when it comes to freaking trading.
I've got it up here on my YouTube, so I'm going to look forward to watching this now. Free market
Oh,
tomorrow.
he's going to be
See
all
what this
jacked
guy
up
says.
today if the market's down still by 1 o'clock like this. He's going to be jacked up, man, talking about how the world's coming to an end and the P's are too high and this is all just a matter of time. And he's going to be freaking fired up today.
So we're going down to 3,000. This guy's going to say, get short now.
I mean, he's been
All right.
saying that's what he's been saying all year. So I don't see why he would change his tune now.
All right, man. Well, what else is on your trading mind these days?
That's it,
It's not
man.
it. No
Just
one's
waiting for
talking
the
about.
fucking COT to come back into just
Yeah.
wait for the data to come back so I can sort of get my positions back on in real size and see what the hell I'm actually supposed to have on. I'm
When
basically
are they? When did they say this Friday?
yeah, but I think it's gonna like be catching up. They got 3 weeks to catch up, and I don't know exactly what they're
Oh
doing. They
yeah.
got their heads so far up their ass, man. I have no idea what they're gonna do, but at least if they start moving forward, it's gonna help me. So
It might bring some flows in. Actually, I mean, I hate to say it, but I just don't want to see another week going sideways. I'm car sick. I'm car sick, man. And we just got a breakout one way or the other. That's all.
yeah,
Some directionality.
sucks when the
All
market
right.
doesn't do what we want it to do, doesn't it? Fuckers.
I, I just jump on the wave every day, man. I don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
You've been a gentleman. Thanks for your time, man.
All right, man. It was great
Catch
talking.
up. Put some
Yep.
cream on that cut.
Yeah. Good luck with the rugby. Sounds like you guys have a good thing in there. If you got a bunch of British
You
guys
don't
and
need
Irish guys, then you got a good little rivalry.
you don't need luck when you're number one.
There you go. I'll have to watch it.
All right.
All right, take it
Enjoy.
easy. Yep.
Talk to you. Bye bye.